To Hassan, who's on the line from Slough.
Hi, Islam and Maajid.
Salam, Hassan, how are you? It's Maajid. You're correct first time. It's Maajid.
Maajid. I'm just sorry that we Muslims were not there to protect those who died in Manchester, because previously when I spoke to Katie Hopkins a few weeks ago after the Westminster attacks, I did say that for every Muslim that's trying to kill these innocent people, there'll be 1,000 Muslims who try to defend their lives, will risk their lives to defend them. So it's always sad when this happens.
Yeah, but what do you make of my point when I said that look how low the bar has sunk, that we're applauding people merely for condemning ISIS, when actually the real problem is Hassan, is that this mosque, Manchester Islamic Centre, Didsbury Mosque, has hosted people that have said homophobic, anti-Semitic and misogynistic things, and they preach the sorts of views that Al-Qaeda wants to bring about. So fair enough, condemn ISIS. Even Al-Qaeda condemns ISIS. That's not good enough, frankly.
Yeah, no, I think I'll agree with the point, and I think it's sad that they're saying that people like you who are secularists. I'm not a secularist myself, and we can debate.
What
that,
are you?
Well, no, I do believe there is a place for religion in society.
That's secularism.
Sorry?
Secularism doesn't mean there's no place for religion in society. It means that religion shouldn't be enforced on society.
Yeah, and there should be tolerance of all religions.
So you're a secularist.
Yeah. I don't know. We can debate that. But
hold on. I don't understand. Do you believe in theocracy, Hassan?
No, I believe everyone has the right to practice their religion, and my understanding of secularism is, and listening to other secularists, they don't want any part of religion in society. It should be kept in the home, in the churches, in the mosques, in the synagogues. I don't agree with that. A positive role can be played by religion in society as a guide.
I think you're mixing up, Hassan, with respect. I think you're mixing up people who are, let's call them new atheists, who have a proselytizing approach to. They want to preach atheism, which is their right to, and secularists. Secularism is merely religion neutrality. It's not a dirty word, and I know it's become a dirty word, which is, forgive me, why I'm pushing you on this. It's become a dirty word within Muslim communities. That's because we don't understand the word. Secularism simply means religion-neutral politics. It simply means not enforcing one's religion over everyone else.
Yeah, then I would agree with that. You mentioned that secularism has become a dirty word in the same way that Islam has become a dirty word to the contemporary society, and I think both societies need to be educated, including me, as you've just demonstrated. But what I'd say, you asked the question initially, has jihadi got to do anything with Islam? I say no. I know that people like Douglas Murray, Anne-Marie Waters, Melanie Phillips in the book Londonistan will probably disagree with that. They say, no, it comes from religion. Well, the Grand Mufti of Saudi Arabia said 3 years ago that ISIS was the number one enemy to Islam, and I agree with him. Yeah. It is an existential threat to Islam, ISIS, not Katie Hopkins.
I agree that it's an existential threat, but that doesn't address the issue that, come on, Hassan, between you and me, we know it's connected to Islam, don't we?
No, it's not.
Okay, let me quote you a passage in Arabic and tell me how you respond to it. So in the Quran, God says, وَعَدُّ لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ وَرِبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ لِتُرْهِبُوا عَدُوَّكُمْ وَعَدُوَّ اللَّهِ. That means prepare all of your power and strength to strike terror in the hearts of God's enemies and your enemies. Now that word, turhibu, is the word irhab in Arabic, is what terrorism means. Now you can't deny, like the Spanish Inquisition was connected to Catholicism, you cannot deny that modern day jihadist terrorism has something to do with Islam. Not everything and not nothing, but it would be insane of us. It would be actually, frankly, disingenuous and deceptive of us to deny that there's a connection. The connection is that jihadist terrorists, A, they are Muslims, albeit they've taken a literalist and rigid interpretation of the faith, but two, B, they use passages from the scripture that have a plausible reading that looks like it could appear to support their views, even though, of course, people that study theology can rebut that. But the point that you have to rebut it with theology, even you quoting the Mufti of Saudi Arabia, proves it's something to do with Islam, because even the refutation relies on Islam. If it had nothing to do with Islam, you'd be quoting Das Kapital or Mein Kampf. But we're actually having an argument over Islamic scripture. So it has something to do with Islam, doesn't it, Hassan?
Well, I have tried to challenge these radicals myself, and I said before to you that I did challenge Omar Bakri Mohammed.
Yeah, but you challenged them using Islamic scripture, didn't you?
Right,
so it has something to do with Islam.
Well, it doesn't, because the reason why he backed down is precisely because he knows perfectly well he cannot defend his views.
So did the Crusades have nothing to do with Christianity?
Oh, well, the Crusades had something to do with the church, but not Jesus.
Something, right. So, something to do with the church, yeah? So let's agree this has something to do with Islam.
You're confusing the church with Jesus. Jesus.
I'm not. I didn't say Jesus, and I didn't say Muhammad. I said this is something to do with Islam.
No, it's a warped view of the Quran and Sunnah. That's what I'd say.
A warped view has something to do with it, though, doesn't it?
A warped view, yeah.
Not nothing to do with it.
No, especially when the Prophet himself, he predicted the rise of these groups and actually ordered us to fight these groups. So it can't be from religion, especially when the Prophet
it's not. You see, saying it's not from religion is actually part. The Khawarij, who you're talking about, that the Prophet ordered us to fight, are the precursors to modern-day jihadists. They were still citing passages of the Quran, and they were still considered Muslims. So let's at least concede this is something to do with Islam, because that's a starting point. We can then understand that the issue is their reading of Islamic scriptures. Because what that then does, Hassan, is galvanise people, good people like you, to say, OK, let me rebut these their reading of these scriptures. Let me refute them. Let me push back against them. But you can't do that if we're handicapped, if we can't even accept it's something to do with Islam in the first place.
I see where you're getting at there, but that's exactly the point that Anne-Marie Waters, Douglas Murray, Melanie Lewis want to make. There's a problem with the religion itself, with the Quran.
No, that's an argument by consequence. Let's leave that alone, because you and I are Muslims speaking as Muslims. Let's not worry about what other people are saying. Let's worry about making sure that we're responsible for our views. And if we accept this is something to do with Islam, we're then empowered to push back. The danger is if you say it's nothing to do with Islam, then you're going to be responding with arguments that don't resonate with the person you're trying to change. It's nothing to do with Islam. Let me quote your Mein Kampf. He's going to laugh at you.
Yeah, okay, let me explain why I'm hesitating to agree with you on this particular point about anything to do with Islam. The Finsbury Park Mosque, it was run by Al-Muhajirin at that time. In 2003, you may remember, they held a meeting which was entitled The Magnificent 19. Yeah. And there was a poster of the 19 youths that flew the planes into the Twin Towers. Now, below the faces, they had the quote from the Quran, chapter 18, about God being pleased with the youth and he increased them with guidance. Okay, yeah. So they're trying to give the impression that God was happy with those 19 youths. You and I know perfectly well these Jews were the sleepers of the cave. Yep,
Hassan, you're preaching to the choir, but the issue is that you're not going to. I'm already on your side. The issue is that you and I, when debating these people, will still be saying that their reading of Scripture is wrong, which is a concession that they are reading Scripture, which means it's something to do with Islam. And, I just don't understand why you're hesitating there, because it's as absurd as saying that the Inquisition had nothing to do with Catholicism.
The reason why I'm hesitating is this verse I just explained to you. I am preaching to convert, obviously, but this is this is actually supporting my view. They are blatantly not just misusing it; they're not reading it. They're actually lying about the Quran and applying it. So it's nothing to do with Islam.
Hassan, thank you for that. I'm sorry, but I think that it's obvious when we get into it that you're having a theological argument, which is it's something to do with Islam, and I just, for the life of me, I don't think we can get away with denying that anymore. You're listening to Maajid Nawaz here on LBC.